Right, now let's talk about an interesting company which has had quite a checkered history but has limited visibility given its scale, and that's Net1 UEPS. So it used to be just South African listed. It's a technology producer. It's involved with payment solutions, in other words, payment gateways. It has all of the setups in the back end to interact with Visa, MasterCard, and all of those sorts of people. It also offers card-based solutions for cash distribution. So, for example, the social benefits in this country, in quite a number of provinces, what you get is a cash card that has the value implied in it, which has got the necessary usage points at all of the retailers. Company market cap, and here we're talking about an entity which has a dual listing on the Nasdaq in America. So a couple of years ago they fulfilled that whole thing. 7.9 billion rand though, that's a lot. Price to earnings ratio of 12.2 and not a dividend payer. So quite a complex model and quite hard to kind of understand what exactly is going on in there.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things going on in there. I mean, later we're going to talk about FinBond. FinBond is one of its subsidiaries.
Its
so, I mean, it is a little bit complicated. And one thing about Net1 that's probably fresh in South Africans' minds, because people don't forget this kind of thing, is the big fight about the tender for that social grant.
What has happened with that? Because the court found that the agency which awarded the tender had actually acted irresponsibly and that must do it again, but they didn't want to interrupt the current business.
I was trying to look for what happened there, because I also remember that happening and just nothing. And
because the
was
complainant in
involved,
that case was ABSA.
It was
ABSA figured that they had been juked out of the deal and now they wanted to get back in.
And now recently apparently there's some talks about the CEO's PhD being a bit.
That was also awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it's very awkward. A lot of things around this company is a little bit awkward, but when you drill down into what they actually do, it's a pretty exciting business.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got these payments, the payment processing business. They've got a medical aid processing business as well. Lots of technology and processing, and
not just here in South Africa. They also have businesses in Korea
and North America,
the UK, where they got that Zazu thing. So certainly a thing where Serge Bellamont and his team have been very entrepreneurial. The share chart is there behind. So let's say, look at it. I mean, peaks in 2015, since then going down. Quite a choppy situation there.
Yeah, I just think that the news has probably been very up and down for this company. Investors reluctant to get involved as well. One thing that I must also say about this company, besides the technology being very interesting and that sector being very interesting, is they're also exposed to cybersecurity, I saw. Cybersecurity thematically is a massive area to play, and we don't have a lot of exposure to that in South Africa.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to get into that theme, this is probably your only chance to do so.
Yeah. Liquidity is an issue though, because most of the founders' shares and all of the sort of long-term structural shareholders have ended up in the New York listing, and then the local market is relatively thin.
Yeah, you can see it when you look at the share graph as well.
It's kind of chunky.
Yeah.
So how are we going to call it, hot or not?
So it isn't very expensive. It's only trading on a forward P of 6 times, historic PE a little bit higher. But it's very difficult in terms of visibility. The businesses are good, but you don't know what's going to happen. The Social Security tender is going to come up again next year. What if they lose it? So it'll have to be not just because don't know.
Exactly. I'm going to follow you exactly on that. But if somebody finds this topic interesting, then obviously digging deeper could be a way of offsetting some of those risk issues.
Absolutely.